Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain York Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And the weather's been spectacular. It's why we live in northern Arizona. It's just cool, but it's 4 seasons, but it's just nice. So you can get out almost at least several days a week. You can get out all year long. And so it's just beautiful. My gardens have been in a cleanup mode. And so I'm trying to reset or get things back in order. So I'm cleaning up all the dead leaves, broken branches, just kind of getting things. And I've got a long season to do this. I've got a lot of plants kind of touch and kind of get them growing better next spring. So you're setting the stage now for next spring's growth. And things are budding up quite nicely. And so I start with the leaves. The leaves have dropped. Most of the leaves have dropped at my house. And so I don't want those leaves sitting there on top of the gardens or on top of the lawns or out just, I want to rake that stuff up. What happens is bugs hide underneath those leaves and they come back at you next spring. Well, I don't want that. I want the soil exposed. I want them freezing to death. I want them out of there. And so it just is healthier for the plants. So I'll rake those up. I compost them. I put them in the compost pile, but I don't leave them on the gardens or it just causes some issues. So I've raked those things up. Then I'll start with just cleaning things up. I look for dead wood. Dead. Anything dead in your gardens is bad. And you just don't want that. So you don't want dead leaves. You don't want dead twigs. You don't want broken branches. It just attracts more decay and death and stuff. So get rid of that stuff. So as I rake things up, it's opening up the bottom of those branches so I can kind of see the structure. I can see what's going on. My lilacs. Ooh, I got one that's just way overgrown. Oh my gosh, this is a reset year. So I'm going to reset that thing. It's as lilacs get old. And this is probably a 20-year-old guy. They live for decades, but not beautifully. They've got a season where they need to be reset they tend to sucker a lot. So you'll get great big branches coming up from this lilac that's well above head high. It's 8-10 feet tall. It's way too big for the space where it's at. And then they tend to sucker. They have lots of branches coming up from the roots just everywhere, kind of like an aspen on steroids. They just come up everywhere. And so I don't want that. I don't want it to be overgrown. I want it to look shapely and beautiful. And so now normally I'll tell folks don't prune lilacs in the winter because I'll lose some of my flowers next spring. So the buds, I could see the buds. I was trimming them back. I knew I was going to lose some flowers, but this next year, it's almost going to be a rest year for this lilac. Don't focus on blooming. Focus on adding new foliage, vigorous new stems coming up, and then set stage for next year. And so I've all those suckers got cut back. I took out the main heavy, tall stems. I want vibrant, young, supple kind of branches coming up. Those provide the best flowers. And so I'm going to reset them that way. And so, yes, I'll lose some flowers, but I knew that I'm okay with that, but it sure looks good. When I got done, I fertilized like crazy. Actually, I put a 3-inch layer of compost around the roots. That's going to really stimulate things, attracts worms, gets the roots where they kind of go, wow, I don't know what just happened, but it feels good right here. Let's grow. Setting the stage for tremendous growth next March. We're just talking a couple months away and things are going to start taking off. So I'm setting the stage for that. And so I'm pruning things back. Some things, they need to be reset. So I think roses, if you don't reset your roses, they just become mangy, thick, barky, almost woody, and they stop performing very well. A butterfly bush, a Russian sage. Some of these things need to be set back, or they sucker everywhere. They take over, and they lose their vitality by giving a major haircut every 3, 4, 5 years. It invigorates them so they can take all that massive root structure. They take all that energy and they just form brand new branches, better flowers for the following season. So this year is going to be a reset year. If I reset 3 or 4 roses, just cut them right back to just really whacked on them. Some of these roses are 20 plus years old. But normally roses don't bloom that well for that long. But if you really take them back and start over again, they do. And so these roses are probably, I don't know, a foot and a half around. Well, not anymore. Now they're like the trunk is that big, but they've only got 5 or 6, maybe 7 beautiful soft green canes coming up. They are going to bloom like crazy next year. Oh my gosh, you're going to put on 6-7 foot of growth and just be covered in flowers because I reset them. So most plants put their best blooms on vibrant new wood. And so if you can encourage new wood to come up, you'll get better growth. When it was all done, I fertilized everything. So I got my butterfly bush, the lilacs, a couple roses, all set. I insulated the roots with about a 3-inch layer of just organic, rich soil. Put a 3-inch layer of mulch underneath the over the root zones. And then I fertilized. So now food, there's really 2 kinds of landscape foods that are out in your yard that you can use in the yard. There's summer foods and there's winter foods. So, and the plants cannot pick up one or the others. They can't pick up the winter food in summer and summer foods in winter. So your nitrates are more of a summer plant. So ammonium nitrate, that's a summer food. That's if you want to make corn grow like crazy, give them nitrogen, nitrates. Your sulfates, they are going to be more of a winter food. So ammonium sulfate is going to be the opposite of that. When the soil temperatures get cool, the plants can pick that up. And so know which one you're putting on, or you're just wasting energy and money out there in the gardens. So the right food at the right season makes a big difference. That's with chemical foods. Now, organic foods are different. So those organics, so if you're using bone meal, blood meal, feather meal, all kinds of meals. Those get cottonseed meal, classic for big flowers, fragrance, brighter colors. And so that's going to bring that out. Organic foods break down over a longer period of time, and they break down it's kind of like processed food or all natural food that you're eating. Organics are that way. They're all natural foods. As they break down, the plants can pick it up no matter the season. And so they're not going to be like a synthetic fertilizer, like ammonium nitrates only summer. If you put that on the winter, you might as well just wasted time. Plants aren't going to benefit. Sulfate's the same way. So organic. So I put organic foods. I put 744 all-purpose plant food down. It's cottonseed meal, bird guano, some sulfur, some iron. I just love that. It's going to set the stage for massive flower and leaf bud growth next spring. Then afterwards, here's kind of the insider tip. For my blooming things, I kept back a very large rose and a very large butterfly bush. This thing was way too big. It's going to bloom spectacularly next year. And it's going to bloom better than ever because all that root zone, that root energy is going to be pushing up into the remaining branches that I left intact, the healthy ones. And so the phosphorus, superphosphate, 0,18,0, that is going to be picked up, and that's what forms flowers. If you want more flowers, give it phosphorus, superphosphate right now. I would say by the end of January, give it phosphorus. If you want better forsythia, better lilacs, better spring blooming crab apples and red buds, fruit trees, superphosphate. Put some of that in. It's granular. Just take a handful, sprinkle it on there. I don't work it in. I just kind of put it on top of everything. The snows and the rains that are coming, they're going to help that break down. The plant's going to pick that up and store it, and that's what it's going to use to form next spring's flower growth. You're going to get better apples, bigger rose of Sharon, better butterfly bush, bigger flowers, superphosphate, 0,18,0, all of it. That middle number forms flowers. The 744 all-purpose plant food, that's going to form better roots and more foliage growth. So they work together. You can do this yourself. It's time to start pruning, fertilizing things to get things ready for spring. We'll be right back right after this.
Look, if your wife, mom, or dad wants an ugly sweater for Christmas, Get them a sweater, not some piece of plastic.
But if someone you truly care about loves their garden, a gift card to Waters makes perfect sense.
Next spring, she can pick exactly what she was hoping.
We all know it's not the same as a huge flower basket or fragrant rose, but hey, it's winter. Gardeners understand.
Waters online gift cards are found at top10plants.com or at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.